These are the craziest ghost stories ever told on the Joe Rogan Experience Podcast. So get comfy and enjoy the thrill.
So tell me about the Queen Mary.
There's this one room, B340, that hadn't been open for 30 years, and allegedly they closed it down because there's multiple unexplained murders and or suicides in that room. And we're like, whoa, like, you know, if this is the first week this is open after 30 years, this is going to be an amazing like story to tell or, you know, video to film. And so we went in there trying to make something or like trying to get something. We obviously didn't really believe in that much. So we were like, all right, let's just see if it happens. If there's going to be a haunted location, it'll be this. We toured around, did the whole thing, weren't getting much. And we were kind of frustrated at that point because we're like, all right, this is supposed to be the cream of the crop. This is supposed to be the big wig. Like, why can't we get something to happen? And so it was 4 o'clock in the morning at this time. We've been trying for hours of just sitting in circles, like asking out.
And we didn't
like,
have any equipment at this time. This is like the first place we ever went to. So we were just like meandering like the hallways being like, is anything here?
Yeah, like just trying to get something to happen
right.
On camera. And nothing was happening. And so we're like, fine, I guess let's do this. Let's just like leave. Like it's fun to tell the story. Let's just leave. And so we turn off the camera, start packing up. We start walking towards the door. And as soon as we we're about to like get out of the room, the faucet turns on like full blast for 4 seconds and then turns back off. And we all like actually like, you know, freeze and freak out. 2 of our roommates that were there at the time like just immediately started like crying. We ran in. We were like, okay, how was that actually possible at all? Maybe that's a sign of like it doesn't want to be filmed and it doesn't want us to leave. So maybe let's just not film this and try one more time just for the heck of it. And so that's what we did. But this time it worked. And to like the weirdest extent, we just like put away all of our cameras. We sat in the most serious tone saying like, okay guys, like before this didn't really believe, so like if this is happening, let's have something happen. And so we all sit in the dark together and we start calling out questions. And we're like, okay, like is there anybody here? And we hear a knock. And so we're like, okay, maybe that's something.
Very faint though. It was like a tap.
Like a tap. And so we're like, okay, let's just run with that. Can you tap more than once? And there was like 3 taps. We're like, okay, this is really weird. Like, can we start asking questions?
And how loud are you saying this? Like, is it possible that someone could have heard you from another room?
That's what we thought. So going, like, we were talking probably like this, but then there was times where we talk like really quiet. And like, we tested everything. But so what we did is we decided, let's ask questions using these taps. So we said, tap once for yes, tap anything more than once for no. We had a yes or no conversation for 35 minutes with something that we cannot explain. Mm-hmm. And we did everything because we were skeptical at this point.
Did you film any of this?
We didn't think so. But apparently one of our friends, he's like super religious, was like, hey, no matter what, the entire night he was keeping an audio recording in his pocket.
We had no idea.
We had no idea that he was doing that.
So nobody talked about it. So if there was something there, it didn't know either.
Yeah, we had no idea he had pulled that out. Like, we genuinely were like, okay, no one's filming. We even say in this audio recording, like, no one's filming. Like, this is no bullshit. Like, everyone, please, like, be serious about this. And so we had this conversation back and forth, and we tried to trick it. You know, like, we would ask questions in different manners. Like, okay, is there more than one of you? Yes. And then we'd say, are you alone? And it would say no. Back and forth, trying to get this thing. And the story kept straight the entire time. Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, come on, there could be someone, like, screwing with us. This is, like, on, you know, the news of being like haunted place. Yeah. Like, what's going on?
Well, what was crazy about it too is all the knocks, they weren't just coming from one section. That would make sense if like maybe something outside was like tapping. These knocks would be like below us and then above us to our sides. Some would be louder than other ones. We went out to the hallway a couple times and we realized that we were like the last room besides like this like utility room to our left. And obviously we had like basically that whole like floor to ourselves as well since it was super late.
Yeah, and then like sometime in the middle we were like okay, like let's like ask a question under our breath.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like this thing does not want us to leave. And at that moment the entire floor shook. Boom. Like we were all like, oh my God, what was that?
You could feel the vibration in your feet.
Crashing on the ship or something. It was huge. And so we're like, okay, so this thing doesn't want us to leave. Maybe we should just like ask questions under our breath for the rest of the time, just so we know it's not some employee, it's not someone like screwing with us the entire time. So fast forward to the very end, we were like, okay, we've had a bunch of conversations. At this point, we really believe if this is truly something, I want to know something about something deeper than just yes or no questions, or just like something silly of like how many people are here. So I decided, let's ask about religion. And I ask out, is there a heaven? And it knocks 3 times, meaning no. And at that point, our 2 religious friends that were there like immediately jumped up and said, we have to leave right now.
We had no idea why.
Why? What's going on? Like, I'll tell you in the car, like, dude, like, just don't look back. Let's go. Let's leave. And so we walked out. We left. We got all the way to the car without anyone saying anything. And as soon as we got in the car, we're like, what's going on? Like, why do we have to leave? He's like, well, in the Christian religion, anything like demonic or evil is supposed to, like, basically disprove that there is a heaven in order, you know. And so what they were saying is like, we don't think this is some like spirit or something paranormal there. We think it was something that was trying to lead you away from heaven or Christianity.
Demonic territory type thing.
No, that it has a difference. And then, you know, if you want to go further and talk about the ghosts that show up, there's definitely ghosts too. Did I ever show you the picture of my ghost?
You have a picture of a ghost?
Didn't I show you that?
Did
I ever show you that, Jamie?
I don't think so.
No?
You have a ghost?
I have a ghost.
Where? Your house?
I apologize if I'm repeating myself.
I don't know if you are. I don't remember the story.
right.
But
I got one of those Nest cameras.
Oh, the Nest cameras captured a ghost?
Yeah, and I was at the Comedy Works in Denver.
And the ghost comes with you to Denver?
He opens for me. You know, you want an opener that you can trust.
Yeah.
And I got an alert on my email the first time, like if it senses movement, it alerts you. And I open it up, and there's my dog, Bella, just in the thing. I'm like, this is so cool. I'm just like, I'm in Denver, and I'm looking at my office. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool beginning of a horror movie if you get an alert on your phone, and back at home there's a guy just staring in the camera of
Jesus
right?
Christ.
That's a good premise for a movie. So then as I'm saying that to my opening act, who wasn't a ghost, I get another alert, and then this comes up. Oh yeah, you can see it up there.
Okay. Why do you have a picture of Chris D'Elia on your wall? He's obsessed with Chris D'Elia. We just found out. Look at that, bro. That's D'Elia. Chris, keep away from Tom. Something you might not know.
I love D'Elia, but that's George Carlin.
That's a man with a wrench.
Yeah, or a man in a trench coat with an Uzi. This is 10 o'clock at night. The only people home are my wife and my daughter. This is on the 2nd floor. There is no shadow coming in the thing. It's a ghost. That's a legit
You don't think
ghost.
that's a person?
That's not a person.
For sure.
My wife is the only one in the house.
And you think that's a gun in his hand? Could be a clipboard. Maybe he's just a really annoying surveyor from the dead.
He's looking
I just
at
like a few moments of your time to fill out this report.
Did you have video of it? Was it moving or something?
No, but I have a video of another thing in the same office, which I could show you.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it does seem... It seems like, you know, the light is behind him, right? Like the outside right edge of it is sort of highlighted, like there's a light behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like a gun, though.
It is weird.
So have you ever had an experience that you could say you think is probably a ghost that caused that?
Everybody in the house has had a little something.
Is your house old?
It's not old.
How old
but
is
like
it?
Poltergeist.
Right, it's over an Indian burial ground.
You never know.
Dun, dun, dun.
You never know.
So in Zach Bagans' museum, one of the most haunted, if not the most haunted object in the whole museum, I don't know if you saw it, probably did, the Devil's Rocking Chair.
Yes.
There it is.
So we actually were able to
He gave us
sit-
permission. We were the first people besides him and his team to sit in this chair.
Yeah, so basically that was the only exhibit that he's ever had to close
Look at those girls.
down. They're terrified.
Look at their faces. Look at Look at their
So-
faces.
so
that looks
scary.
so real.
They're like, why did you bring us here?
Were
We
they
feel
with
so-
you guys?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he had to shut down that museum that exhibit specifically because a lot of people were like complaining about, you know, getting nauseous or throwing up or something like that. It's apparently the only artifact that he had to close off in that museum. But for some reason, he was like super nice to us and was like, guys, besides me, no one's sat in there since the exorcism that had occurred on that chair. So if you guys want to, you guys can sit in it for the first time ever. And that was one of those times, like, we're down to push the limit and stuff like that. But that was one of those times that I actually, like, gather myself and be like, we can do it. Like, let's figure this out. Let's, like, not actually, like, overthink about it.
So what are you talking to? Like when you're saying you've gone too far, like you have headphones on and you have your blindfold on.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
So this is one of like our favorite experiments. It's called the Estes method. It relies on the theory that if you take away certain senses, other ones are enhanced. And so there's this thing called a spirit box that like shuffles through different radio frequencies. And what I'm doing is I'm like focusing on like whatever it says, and I can't hear the questions that Colby and
what
other
are you?
people.
You're hearing something in your ears?
Yeah, well, I'm hearing radio static basically. It's going.
Hello.
Really,
like,
really.
Every once in a while, we'll break into a radio station where it'll be like a song or something that like will be something saying or like just a word will pop out. But mostly you just hear static.
And these are like noise canceling headphones, and I can't see what they're saying. So it's basically like,
you're blindfolded. You have this thing on. It's static, and occasionally sounds come through that are words.
Correct.
And so you're just repeating those words.
Well, so I'm like watching him and I'm asking questions out, and whatever's there is supposed to use the Estes method or like use Sam basically as the vessel to
the conduit of.
So,
these.
for example, I'd be like, are you here right now? And then he'd be like, yes, over there, or something like that.
And so you're in
there's no way
this
of him.
haunted rocking chair, and you're using this method with blindfolds on and the earplugs.
Yeah, basically to sensory deprive myself so that no matter what, I couldn't be just faking an answer and hearing what he said and say something random. So the theory is, yes, there will be other random words that happen because it's radio frequencies. However, but down to the coincidence theory, if things make sense over and over and over again to the questions that he's asking, then that is said to be more paranormal.
So what did it feel like for you to be sitting in that creepy chair?
So during that, it was a whole different world. But what was really, really interesting is, like Colby said, after doing this a lot, like it takes a lot for us to have a physical reaction. Although, yes, I was definitely terrified because of all the lore and the stories that were being told all up until this point. The guy telling us 100 times, no one has ever done this before. You're about to be the first. It's terrifying. But sitting down on that chair for the first time, I think ever, gave me a feeling of almost being paralyzed. I don't know if you've ever been like hypnotized. Have you ever been hypnotized?
Yeah.
So the feeling of being in hypnosis was almost immediate as soon as I like sat down there. Not when I was doing that like experiment, but prior to that, where I couldn't necessarily feel my legs as much. And yes, like if you gave me, like ultimatum, if you have to stand up right now or you're gonna die, I could stand up. But like if you've been under hypnosis, it's like this pressure that you probably shouldn't do this, or that your mind is being swayed to do something else. And to me, that pressure was don't stand up.
So you felt like you're under a spell.
Yeah. And like the same thing with hypnosis. Like I've been hypnotized before, and like I said, if everything in my being wanted to stand up, yeah, I can stand up, or I can not listen to like what's happening. However, if you allow yourself to like feel that, the feeling was paralyzing. And like I like run a lot, so I always like use this as an example. It felt as though within seconds of sitting down on that chair, I had run 5-10 miles. Like it felt like I was sore, and like my legs were like real, like that, like almost like sluggish feeling to like your muscles after like a big workout. That's what I felt almost immediately.
Theater ghosts are some of my favorites.
In theaters?
When you go perform in these theaters and you talk to the people, I always asked, do you have a ghost? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a little boy, I was in, where was I? Oshkosh. And there was an old theater, and the guy who runs the theater said, there's legendary, they keep talking about, there's like 3 ghosts in the thing, and they were having a cocktail party upstairs in this like cocktail lounge off the balcony, and this guy's son ran into the balcony, and he's talking with people, and he goes, I gotta go get him. And he goes in there, and the kid's leaning over the balcony, talking to the stage, having a conversation with someone. He's like, yeah, no, this is my dad. What? He wants us to go down there. Who wants us to go? That guy. He wants us to go down there. And there was no one down there.
The thought about that with little kids is that little kids have not dulled all of their senses with the pressures of the world and all the other information that we carry around in our heads and all of our ideas of what's real and what's not real, and that little kids are open more, and then they can see things. Well, Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers was talking about that with his son, that his son is like, I think it was Flea.
Yeah.
His son is like tuned in to spirits in a way. And then that he was looking at it was like, maybe it's that these kids are not, like maybe we all have that in us, but it's blunted by pressures and life and a lack of sleep and responsibilities and relationships and work and
fear.
Yeah, and everything. And
right.
It's just, and also, like, we define how the world is, right? We get it in our head that these are the parameters for the world.
Yeah.
This is how the world works, and that's it. And go to work and fucking button up your fucking sleeves. And,
right, this is my beliefs.
Yes, yeah.
My belief system is going to carry me through.
Yeah. I mean, this is what it is. It's a fact.
Right.
It is.